Hey guys, Doug Giles here, Little Wars and Wild Men Time. Rich, got me a nice cold glass of, what is this? Shiner Bock Safari cigar. I would say that I'm properly anointed and prepped for our fresh Wars and Wild Men podcast. How you doing, brother?
Doing good, man. That looks like a good setup. It's earlier in the morning here. You know, we're in Arizona, and I got my cup of coffee. So I'm working up.
That's all right. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. Hey, let's. I don't know if the Wars and Wild Men are keeping up with the drama that's going down with Facebook and what happened to me and I believe 500 plus other publishers.
800 now.
Well, it's actual 500 plus publishers' websites, and then there's an additional nearly 300 plus pages that Facebook deemed unworthy for their platform that got torn down on October 11th, last Thursday. And so I'm gonna bring them to speed a little bit. On October 11th, Facebook sent a notification to my company that ClashDaily.com, in addition to that page, we had like 7 or 8 other pages that we built out. 2 million followers, man, 2 million. And I believe we're trying to get a final number on how much money that we spent in building those pages, but it's right at $200,000. Now, granted, for a lot of companies and stuff, $200,000 is chump change. But for us, it was a nice stack of cash, man. And but Facebook, after taking our money to expand our reach and to bring traffic back to our website, our product, they decided on, like I said, October 11th, that we were unworthy to be on their platforms. And here's what they sent, Rich. Check this out. So I go into Facebook, ClashDaily.com fan page, which again doesn't exist now. And we weren't an insignificant website. 230 million plus page views. Here's what Zuckerberg said. Rich, you ready for this, man? He said,
I'm ready.
Here, let me get the appropriate voice. Hold on, let me take a hit off my cigar. I'm trying to channel how squeaky little pussified liberals would posit the stuff I'm about to read. Okay, I think I got the voice. I know you got the voice. I
have the voice. I make fun of everybody.
But here's what Facebook said. Your page has been unpublished for misleading behavior. Okay, note that, Richard. And here's a such as that Facebook gave us. Such as being administered by a fake account, misleading users, or violating the Facebook spam policies. This goes against Facebook pages terms and Facebook community standards, which help keep our community safe and respectful. If you think we made a mistake, you can appeal and we'll take another look. All right, so I did appeal because I think it's uncut, unmitigated, China white, I'm talking Peruvian flake horseshit, okay? And I'm going to break it down here in a second. Here's my response to Zuckerberg and his rules, all right? This is what we sent back to Team Facebook. ClashDaily.com engages in misleading users. Rich, have you ever known me? I got a lot of faults, man, right? I got a whole plethora.
One or two. Not any I can think of off the top of my head. But
I got stacks. And if you run out of the ones that you're able to notify in an immediate sense, I'll flesh it out and I'll give you the whole dirty deeds done dirt cheap. But, misleading people is not one of the things that I'm known for, especially Clash Daily. We don't trade. And if any of the Wars and Wild Men have been to my website, ClashDaily.com, we don't trade in subtleties and deceit. Oh, no.
No, it's pretty straightforward.
No, they're like, you're misleading the users. Listen, man, we're hard-charging, patriotic mosh pit that loves freedom, family, and the flag. And don't mind challenging them that don't with this thing called facts and reality. Heavily documented stuff, Rich. I don't know if you've ever been to the Clash Daily page, but we weren't like, well, some unknown sources said somewhere about this and that, and so we're running with it and publishing it like it's true. Brother,
Wait, so you don't do what CNN does?
No.
But they're still on?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm just making sure I got that straight.
Now, and here's another thing that we do. We do it with an irreverent sense of humor. We jam it up their tailpipe like happy warriors. And so I don't think, any of this is misleading. And you know what? On our About Us tab on ClashDaily.com, we say we are conservatives. We report news, but we also come from a Judeo-Christian perspective and worldview. And we also don't mind making fun of those who bloviate on the right and the left, and that's just us in a nutshell. So there's no misleading behavior whatsoever, and I guess if we call misleading users is making them into free-thinking patriots and not Kool-Aid drinking Antifa clowns, then I guess we could be guilty, Rich.
Well, let me try to
misleading
interpret
people.
let me interpret their phrase for you. Misleading people means that you're telling people something that they don't agree with or believe to be true. They don't care about facts. They have an agenda. If anybody thinks that Facebook is like Switzerland or something, they're wrong. They're very much motivated. They very much have an opinion. They have a skewed view of politics and reality and morality. And so what they're saying is you're misleading people because you're not saying what we think. That's what they're saying. Without saying it, that's what they're saying. And they believe it. And they believe it because you know why? Because they're raging liberal lunatics. That's why.
Right. And they're totalitarians. I mean, they're like,
They are.
they're like Trump's a Nazi. And it's like, well, he's very friendly to Israel and brought back the embassy, unlike Bush and Obama and Clinton.
Yeah, wouldn't that be the opposite of Nazi?
No, and they're like, our voice isn't heard. Listen, the only voices that are not heard and are becoming increasingly rare and squelched are conservative and libertarian voices on the social media platforms. You guys, Zuckerberg and whatever twit that runs Twitter, you guys are the frail little snowflakes that can't handle robust debate. Brother, we're about to post on ClashDaily.com this morning. Oh, by the way, Zuck and all the other dipshits that ban Clash Daily. Rich, we haven't seen a dip in our traffic at all. People are dive bombing the website. They're subscribing like never before. We've got extensive email list, and they tried to put a dent in us, and we didn't dent. The other people did, and man, it's for the Wars and Wildmen listener to think, Facebook just knocked some pages off. They killed people's business, man. Just absolutely flattened their lives.
Well, listen to this, Doug. I was reading on Breitbart, Facebook deletes disabled veterans page without warning after taking $300,000 for ads, like similar to what you were talking about. Facebook blacklisted the conservative news page run by disabled Air Force veteran Brian Colfage with no warning or explanation after he reportedly spent more than $300,000 on Facebook advertising. Doug, the guy lost his legs
I know.
and his right hand in battle, and Facebook decided that he's not safe.
Yeah.
Bro, come on, bro.
Yeah, I know Brian. I've known Brian for a couple of years and stuff. And it's not just Colfage, it's not just Clash Daily. We're talking about a whole slew. And I know these guys, man. And Rich, dangerous. I guess if, again, you're a lame-ass, wilting, little liberal pussy
who's dangerous to their agenda.
Who can't stand debate and rivaling ideas and memes, then I guess they are dangerous. And but as far as being patriotic, God and country, salute the flag, love apple pie and baseball type of folks, man, that's exactly who Facebook put the dagger in. And again, as you pointed out in the Breitbart article, and I did my opening salvo, man, I mean, just between Colfage and Clash, just two sites, that's half a million frickin' dollars, people, that Facebook said, oh, thank you, and now F you, we're not going to give you your platform anymore.
No, they literally charge you to build it, and then you build it, and then with no recourse, it's just gone. No, there's nothing, no one to appeal to except them, and they're like, nah.
Again, yeah, and brother, we sent in the appeal, and you ought to. I've got it somewhere. I don't know where it's at, but you ought to see their stock standard form letter refusal of the appeal. And we had a couple of internal dudes that we went after, and they sent us again the kind of, stock.
Well, that stuff is written by lawyers to limit their
Yeah,
being
but I think
exposed, and so they're not going to answer you anything because they don't want to slip up.
Right. So the little pussies are hiding, and again, we're talking about people that used to communicate with us, like, hey, WTF? Why did this ad get blocked? Oh, we're sorry. We thought it was a little too terse, but on second glance, we're going to let it run. And they take
On second glance, we're going to take your money.
Yeah,
That's what they meant.
Here's so again, the charges were, Rich, ClashDaily.com is misleading their users. No, we're not. We are so upfront, just like at Warriors and Wild Men. Rich and I are so upfront. We're here to put balls and brains on believers. We're here to make masculinity great again. We champion 5 things, men being providers, protectors, hunters, and heroes, and Christ is our captain. I don't know how much more plainer we can be about what Warriors and Wild Men is about.
We're pretty straightforward, Doug.
And brother, the same thing with Clash, but they say you're misleading. Second charge is this. ClashDaily.com's pages are administered, Rich, by a fake account. Now, shall I tell you, Rich, why that is, again, how can I put it? I'll put it in the Latin this time. Why that is stercor tori, shall I tell you?
Do tell.
I tell you right now, man. Our administrative people on the Facebook page have to have double verify to get into our Facebook account. Do you know what that is? Do you have to do double verify on yours? Okay, so when you type in your username and password, they're like, we don't know if this is you. Could be a content farmer, zit-faced 16-year-old from Macedonia who's trying to trick us. So we're going to send a 6-digit number to your cell phone.
Yep.
Then sometimes you got to go to a code generator because it doesn't even pop up. They forget, Rich, to text us sometimes to get into our account. Such bullshit. What? And again, hey, Marky, hey, you and your social media guys, you're a bunch of pussies because you can't handle robust, energetic, reasonable, and intellectual and irreverent debate and humor and policy.
Well, it's not his fault, Doug. His name's Mark Zuckerberg. What did you want? I mean, come on. It's going to suck. I mean, it's his destiny, man. It's got to suck.
So here's what else. Not only do we have to do double verify login, check this out. We had to submit, I don't know if you had to do this, we had to submit our frickin' driver's license. So they got my mugshot. Now we blacked out obviously our address and all that other good stuff, but they got my driver's license. In addition to that, Rich, my Clash Daily, the big page, the ClashDaily.com fan page, because it was so big, they wanted to make sure that I was blue check verified, man. Rich, are you blue check verified?
I'm not important enough.
Man, they did. We had to blue check verify that I wasn't, again, some Macedonian content farmer. So I go through this lugubrious process to prove that it's frickin' me. And Facebook, you know it. In regards to fake accounts, my wife has had 2 or 3 different accounts because you guys keep banning her from sharing to groups, which segues into point number 3. They said you were spamming. First of all, Rich, if I share my page's content or my website's content to my flippin' page, that's not spamming. Number 2, if my wife and my other social media team, if they share our content to conservative and libertarian groups who love our frickin' content, who can kick us out of their group at any damn time if the leader of said group thinks we're spamming, it's not spamming. They love it. Nobody flagged us. Nobody said, you need to get out of here with that truth sickle. They're like, dude, we love it. That's where we got, again, 230 million page views. It's Facebook that says we're spamming, again, when we're just sharing to groups that love us. And again, numbnuts at Facebook.
They want to control your reach. They want to control your reach. They want to charge you for your reach, which is amazing. Somebody said to me on Facebook one day, they said, why is this a sponsored link? You're not important enough for people to blah, blah, blah. And I said, well, apparently you don't know how Facebook works. They charge me to build my page, and then they charge me to reach the people who follow my page. And I have, I don't know, 300 almost 70,000 followers or something on my page. And if I post something and I don't pay them, Doug, 400 people will see it.
Right.
And depending on how much I pay them, they'll let the people who follow me see what I posted. Now, that's ridiculous. And then, like you said, but you do it because that's what you do, because sometimes you got to work with the machine, do what you got to do. But then it's like, oh no, now you're gone. Well, I want a refund.
Yeah.
I want a refund. Give me my money.
Yeah, it's freaking fraud, man.
Or give me half. Okay, we're sorry, Doug. Here's half.
Yeah.
They're not going to do that.
Yeah, and here's the reason I believe Facebook made up all the aforementioned stuff, like you're misleading and fake account and spamming, is I think that they love, Rich, living in like you said, in these legalistic lingo land of vagaries, because they think with that kind of smoke and mirrors and lawyer tricks and haberdashery that they're going to dodge the frickin' mounting lawsuits that are coming at them. Yep. And again, the Supreme Court announced yesterday that it's going to hear a case that could devastate Facebook. And I think what they just did to conservative publishers, and listen, if you're not a conservative, there's also a bunch of liberal sites. Again, the lion's share is against conservatives and libertarian type groups. Uncle Sam's Misguided Children. I don't know if you ever went to that.
Yeah, I love those guys.
Beautiful.
They're awesome.
Awesome page. I think it had like 4 million followers, like twice.
I think they ratcheted it up since then too. They're going crazy.
No, it's gone. It's gone.
No, on Instagram, I saw stuff that they were posting about their page being gone, and they're ramping it up.
Now, again, this has everything to do with freedom of expression, has everything to do with freedom of speech. That's why the Warrior and Wildman listeners like, well, I didn't have a page, like Clash Daily, and I ain't got 300,000 followers like Rich. Why do I give a shit? It's because they're coming for you. And here's what happens. They come and take out the infantry, which is us, the foot soldiers. And listen, man, with 230 million page views, we kind of helped Trump get elected. I had one of the most viral posts about Trump, if not the most viral post, prior to his election in 2016 that got 1.6 million Facebook shares. One post, Rich.
Wow.
On a column that I did. And so they come in for the infantry. They come in to take out people at their knees. I saw yesterday that they just took out a prayer group. And it's not like they're praying imprecatory prayers or anything incendiary against Zuckerberg and his stormtroopers. They were just an overt pray for our country type group, and they're like, we don't need that. And this is why it's got to concern the Warriors and Wild Men listener, man. They come for the infantry. Next is the cavalry. Then they clean out the generals. And if you think that they're going to stop with purges like they did on October 11th, then you're definitely nuttier than a squirrel turd.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'll give you a couple quotes. I think they're somewhat important people in history anyway. George Washington said, "If freedom of speech is taken away, then dumb and silent we may be led like sheep to the slaughter." And I don't think people realize that. And then another guy, Harry S. Truman, said, "Once a government is committed to the principle of silencing the voice of opposition, it only has one way to go, and that's down the path of increasingly repressive measures until it becomes a source of terror to all its citizens and creates a country where everyone lives in fear." And people might say, well, it's not the government. Well, these guys kind of have a stranglehold right now on social media, and the liberals are promoting it. They enjoy it and don't think that that's not going to get backed. If they get back in office or in power, there's not going to be any stopping these guys, Doug. And Annie was telling me the other day, she said, sometimes I get a little fearful that you're going to end up in prison. And she probably shares that sentiment with my mother. But I was surprised, and I said, well, why would I end up in prison? I don't do anything that's wrong. How could I possibly go to prison? She said, oh, no, not for doing anything wrong, for speaking the truth. And I have a real feeling, a real sense that even sharing the things in the Bible are going to become illegal. And she said, and I just am afraid that you'll end up in prison. And I said, I'll tell you this. When they make preaching the Bible illegal, I'm a criminal. And if they can catch me, I'm going to prison, Doug, because I'm going to tell you what, they ain't going to shut me up, Doug. They will. And I'm not, that's not just blowing smoke. I'm blowing smoke right now, smoking the Safari cigar. But I'm telling you right now, Doug, I am telling you, I'll tell this, I promise you this before Jesus, they ain't shutting me up. Not never, not no how, not no way. It's not going to happen. And I don't think I'm a rare breed. I think there's a lot of Americans that are like, there is no way in hell you're going to silence our voice.
Amen, brother. Can you imagine, Rich, being a part of a party or a system of thought that is so delicate, it's so fragile, it's so frail and wilting, Beauregard, that you make verboten, or forbidden, for those who don't speak German, you make forbidden speech that you don't agree with? Mm-hmm. Rich, how lame is that? It's like,
it's the worst.
It's like, I can't handle the persuasiveness of your argument. I can't handle the creativity of your memes. I can't handle the freedom and the liberty that you're spawning for the pursuit of happiness.
But that's our society. That's where we're at. Doug, yesterday I was discussing an MMA fight, and people have different perspectives and opinions, right? You have to expect that. I wrote what I wrote on there, and this guy said, Whitmer is a woman with a beard. That's his response to my analysis of the fight. And I said, because I am somewhat like the Lord.
You told him only on Thursday night, man. And,
yeah, I'm somewhat like the Lord, you know.
When Andy and I play Cowboys and Indian.
Yeah, well, the Lord, you know, he shows himself to us how we show ourselves to him. Bible says that. People have to look it up. I don't have time. So I said what I normally say, things like this. I said, well, your mom likes me, and you may call me Poppy. So apparently that pissed people off, and apparently I don't really care. I like George Orwell's quote. This is great. If liberty means anything at all, it means the right to tell people what they don't want to hear.
Yeah.
That's freedom, Doug. I have no problem with people disagreeing with me. Be respectful as a person. We could talk about whatever you want. You could disagree with me about everything, and I would probably still really be interested in having the conversation.
You know, when I was in university, and I think we talked about it on a previous podcast, and I was in liberal arts college, so I got my undergrad in fine art. Arguing was the soup du jour, man. It's what we did every frickin' day. Nobody brought out pepper spray. Nobody started smashing windows. We frickin' debated. We talked. Then we went outside. They got high, and I memorized scripture. And but here's something that again I've got to drill home. And you might not be a liberal per se, but you might be like this. You might have, just by osmosis and growing up in an uber-liberal environment like the public school system, if you're so frail, if you're so fragile, and if the leaders that you look up to in television or ecclesiastical leaders or your state reps or whatever, if they're that that frail and not august and robust and have the thick hide of an alligator, that you're into speech suppression, oh my gosh, man. Have you completely missed A, what it is to be a Christian, B, what it is to be an American?
Oh, yeah.
And Rich, if I was a liberal, and again, I get not wanting to be a conservative. I don't want to wear a blue jacket. I don't want to wear a red tie. I don't want to wear khaki stretch pants, okay? I get it. Go. I don't want to be a nerd. I don't want to be a dork. I don't want to be a square. I get not wanting to be a conservative or, in particular, a Republican. However,
but I do want to be an old rich white person, though.
Yes, that's true. However, all that being said, man, if my leaders, if my reps in the media, if my reps in government, both state and federal, wanted to suppress speech, you know what? I'd be saying, listen, guys, love you, but I'm out of here, because that has shit all to do with being a Christian, has zilch to do with being an American citizen. And I don't want to live in a country, Rich, where people suppress speech. And that's what Facebook does. And here's, I know we got a big group over at Warriors and Wild Men, and it's building daily and weekly. I got to tell you guys, and I love you, not just you and Zeke, Rich, but the Facebook Wars and Wildmen, you're going to see less and less of me over there. I've already started to pack my bags, and I'm moving. And I'm not going to give them the time of day. I'm not going to give them a dime. I'm not going to give them my voice. And for Clash Daily, we already started a Me-We group. And what's funny is we had it up. Mary Margaret started it back in the spring when Herr Zuckerberg was applying the thumbscrews. And it had like 30 people at the beginning of this week. We have 350 and climbing now. And got to start somewhere.
Gotta start.
And have you? Let me read this to you. Go ahead and play some background music, Rich, or something like that. I want to read.
What type of music are we looking for here?
You got any Jeopardy type soundtracks?
Hold on. Hold on, I'm going to get it.
Okay, you got to get it, man. Come on.
Hold on.
See, this in radio, this would be called bad radio, but in podcast world, this is gold.
It's called real.
This is gold. All right, so it's too late now.
No, it's not.
You got it. Let's play it before I do it. Jeopardy. Come on.
Hold on. I got to skip the ad here in 3 seconds.
You're
2,
killing me.
1,
You're killing me.
gone.
I like it. Yes. You know, I'm going to play that at my funeral. Now that's good podcast right there, man.
It's 10 hours of that looping continuously, so I don't know if I could do 10 hours of Jeopardy.
Sleep or kill yourself. Okay, so
or come up with answers, questions to answers that you never knew.
So there's a big delete Facebook movement, and it wasn't started by mean old Doug, the right-wing extremist. I think the guy who sold WhatsApp to Zuckerberg, he's the one who started it. I mean, again, we're not talking about, these right-wing extremist neo-Nazi type people, man, that walk around in jackboots and burning churches. We're talking about people that are inside, know Zuckerberg, sold crap to Zuckerberg. They're like, flee Zuckerberg. There was analyst, I can't remember the guy's name. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick. Or one of their top engineers, not an analyst, one of their top engineers. Here it is. It's coming up right now. Brian Armoridge or something like that. I don't know if you saw him on Tucker last night, but he said that place is whacked. If you're conservative, if you just say, hey, I'll have a Reagan sandwich, and they're like, what, did you say Ronald Reagan? And they just start hounding him and mob tackle and dog piling. And he's like, I'm out. I mean, the guy's making serious flow, and he said, I'm not going to be a part of that stuff. So anyway, you got a lot of people deleting Facebook, deplatforming. So people are going to Mumblet, people are going to Minds, people are going to other places, and everybody's that I respect. Now here's something, because a lot of conservatives are like, we need to go over here to this conservative thing. And I'm like, you know what? And Rich, I don't know if this is the hippie coming out in me or not, man. And I love conservatives, love libertarians. That's where the majority of my worldview exists, nearly in totality. I don't even think that I have any kind of leftist principles in me whatsoever. I'm like a bad shopping cart, Rich. Anywhere you push me, I'm going to go to the right. It's got that bad wheel. Always going to the right. Always going to the right. So anyway, but there are a lot of cool people that are open-minded, not in regards to vice, but they're just open-minded in regards to ideas. And they like an amalgam of opinion. And they said, man, MeWe's the place to go. Now check this out. So I was like, what, WTF about MeWe? So here's the description of MeWe from one of their leaders. So the past few weeks have been remarkable for both MeWe and Facebook. MeWe grew by 10% in September and is growing rapidly. Woo-hoo. The world is realizing that there is a better and truly trustworthy social network, MeWe. Now check this out. Facebook in the past few weeks, Facebook has censored conservatives. Facebook censored vegans. Can you believe this?
I saw that.
Facebook censors all kinds of good law-abiding people just for their opinions, and now it's vegans? So bring me to speed on the vegan stuff. Do you know what that was about?
I read the same thing and I couldn't believe it. It was weird. I was like, well, how do you?
Yeah, because you'd think the dipsticks over in the Silicon Valley would be all, up the
Yeah,
tailpipe.
and here's my deal with vegans. That might be a little annoying, but you can eat whatever you want. I don't care.
Talk about it.
That make no difference to me.
Yeah, sometimes after I eat, like 2 chicken fried steaks and I can't take a crap for like 7 weeks, I listen to what the vegans say. You know what I'm talking about? He goes
Yeah,
on.
if you want gray skin and what else?
He goes on. He said Facebook targeted, and again, this is something that I find stunning. Given Facebook's, it's hard right to the left. If you know what I'm talking about. Facebook targeted the LGBTQ community with outrageous gay cure ads on Instagram that's owned by Facebook, and the founders of Instagram resigned from Facebook. Zuckerberg, when he bought Instagram, kept the 2 guys who started Instagram on. And a month ago, they're like, I don't know what the blow up was, but they said adios to Facebook. WhatsApp, owned by Facebook, co-founder Brian Acton apologized for Facebook stealing WhatsApp member data and spying on WhatsApp members. Let's see what else he said. Over 50 million is actually 30 million, which doesn't doesn't calm my
It only
nerve.
decreases it by 20 million, but it's pretty significant.
But Mark Zuckerberg, he said that it was only 30 million Facebook accounts that were hacked.
Oh, okay. Our bad.
Yeah, the MeWe founder continues. Facebook admitted using member phone numbers to target ads. Facebook launched Portal, the worst imaginable spying device service they have yet perpetrated on Facebook members. Why is MeWe growing by 10%, and why is Facebook imploding? Facebook is the largest spy agency in the world, according to the MeWe founder. MeWe has a privacy bill of rights for its members. This is great, man. MeWe has no bullshit, and MeWe members are #not for sale. Now here's their privacy. Let me get this thing to pull up here. This is really interesting, man, because you're not going to see this shit on Facebook. And again, a lot of people are like, well, it doesn't matter to me, man. I'm not a big publisher like Doug, and I'm not a loudmouth like Rich with hundreds of thousands of people. Listen, once you get violated, once you're here's what's weird. You put all your pictures of your kids. You put the house you live in. You even tell people where the hell you're eating immediately. And I wouldn't do that just for safety's sake or just because I don't want people to rip off my home. And everybody's giving them all their info, facial recognition. They know everything about you. And if you ever come up on the enemy's radar, and if you offend the thought police, and if you do something untoward towards the liberal principles, then guess what? They have everything they need to know to come and get you. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you're not running for Supreme Court, I'll tell you that. Not if you grew up in the Facebook generation.
Yeah. Now, so here's the MeWe Privacy Bill of Rights. You own your personal information and content. It is explicitly not ours. You will never receive a targeted advertisement or third-party content based on what you do or say online. We think that's creepy. You see every post in timeline order from your friends, family, and groups. We do not manipulate, filter, or change the order of your content or what you see. Permissions and privacy are your rights. You control them. You control who can access your content. You control what, if anything, others can see in member searches. Your privacy means we do not share your personal information with anyone. Your emojis are for you and your friends. We do not monitor or mine your data. Your face is your business. We do not use facial recognition technology. You have a right to delete your account and take your content with you anytime you want.
That's awesome.
That's the Wild West, man. That's Deadwood. And
yep.
And again, the sheer eclectic group of people that are there, that's what I like. It's what I liked about South Florida. It's what I like about international ministry. I don't like, anything where everybody thinks the same way. I like, again, the clash. That's why I live next to a horse track. It's the difference of opinion that makes a horse race. So
Yeah,
that's
that sounds pretty
yeah,
good. Well,
again,
something's got to give, right? Something's got to give. It can't continue the way it is.
well, I appreciate the Warriors and Wild Men guys who have followed us on Clash Daily. Subscribe there. Give us your email, because until we get the MeWe thing on the social side really cranking and stuff, all of our social media stuff is gone. And here's something that I I love, Rich, is that we weren't affected by it. Our traffic didn't go down. So hilarious, you know.
That's awesome.
Mark's like, we're going to get Clash Daily. And then all the Clash Daily followers are like, no, F you, man. We're still in it to win it. And I dig it. And I told, it's another thing that's liberating, because everybody's like, aren't you sad? Aren't you sad? It's like, listen, hanging out with Facebook is like hanging out with a neurotic, crazy, bipolar bitch from hell that somehow you got involved with. You had sex with her one night when she was drunk. Then all of a sudden it's like, can we be girlfriend and boyfriend? You're like, yeah, whatever. And next thing you know, she's got a dagger standing over you, at night. You wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning, and she's hacking your phone, and she's chasing you down, and she's got lists of do's and don't. And then when finally she says, I'm leaving, you're like, glory to God, man. And and you just say, oh, I'm going to miss you. And then you just go off and run and party with your buddies. That's how I feel with Facebook, man. I'm not like, I had 6 years with you. Listen, it was great for a couple of years, and then it was just total madness. But I want...
Yeah, the rest of the time it was managing bull crap.
Yeah. Again, it's like dealing with a control freak. And Dougie don't play that game well, Rich. Dougie don't play that game well.
Yeah, Doug, even on my personal page, I can't even tell you how many people in my church, Doug, that don't see my posts. And then you have to tell them, well, go and then click on this and then do that, and they don't see my posts. How can I have the max on the personal account, 5,000 friends, and I post something and like 100 people like it? Right. Like, because nobody's seeing it. It's intentional. Yeah. They don't like the message, and they are intentionally ratcheting down everything that we do. So yeah, we're on our way out. And Warriors and Wildmen, we've been working on our stuff overtime so that we can move away from Facebook and let them just be.
Yeah, and here's
just let them be.
Let them go stuff it. And here's something, Warriors and Wildmen listener. Ben, you're going to be better off. You're going to be freer. That place is not a place for Christians or conservatives. And they're data mining. It's a spy agency. They're listening to your phone calls, man. They're reading your frickin' messages. They got all that stuff. And again,
I think I'm going to get all my data off Facebook, and then I'm going to.
Yeah, and then we move. And listen,
I'm done giving them any money anyway.
I wouldn't give. This guy told me.
Zeke just told me we cut that off. We stopped giving him anything.
Rich, this guy told me the other day. He goes, "Hey man," he goes, "I tripled my reach on a post." He said, "I threw some scratch at it, and then boom, up 3x, 4x. Like you just paid the devil." Yeah. It's like,
and it's like feeding a cat. It's never going away now.
Yeah.
And you ain't reaching nobody unless you give them money now.
And not only that, but you're funding and you're fueling somebody who radically and fundamentally hates you. So I hope the Warriors and Wildmen podcast listener, I hope you don't shed a tear. We're going to create another environment, and we're going to have fun. We're going to have this thing called freedom there. And you know what? Facebook can sit and spin, man. I hope they die from attrition. And you're seeing they're in so much deep water with their security breaches and how they ratcheted up ad cost or ad reach 900%, fraudulently told people, oh yeah, your ads are going crazy. And they're not. And we've got a post on it that's about to go up on Clash Daily. It's disingenuous, and this is liberals. This is liberals. Rich, the holier-than-thou, altruistic, puritanical liberals that call Christians and conservatives and libertarians the most dastardly words, and they're fraudulent, they're corrupt speech suppressors. And I pray to God that that one of the imprecatory psalms either converts Zuckerberg or absolutely takes that fetid mess in Silicon Valley and turns it into what David called snail slime in Psalm 37.
There you go. I'm down with that. I'm done with it, Doug. And I don't like anybody telling me what I can and can't say. I don't like anybody trying to shut me up. I hate when somebody says, I don't think you ought to say that. My thing is, I think you ought to learn to watch your own mouth, you little freaking coward. And the only thing you have the courage to say is, I don't say anything. Maybe you shouldn't say anything. Maybe you ought to get out of my space. You're disgusting and you're despicable. It's time for people to start fighting for what's right, for freedom of speech, man. Fight for the right to be heard. Stand up and say what you believe, and then if you get blowback from it, then stand there and be firm in it. We're called to do that in Christ. And you know what? I'm gonna preach the gospel. They don't like it. I don't care. They haven't liked it, Doug, for 2,000 years. It's not all of a sudden gonna jump on board and go, whoa, Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg got saved and changed. He's a tool of the devil, man. And I'm gonna throw that out there. So should we pray for him to get saved? Absolutely. Is my faith in Facebook? No, it's not. Is the government gonna shut me down, tell me not to talk? Nope. Is Facebook gonna do that? Nope. Ain't nobody telling me jack, Doug. That's how I feel about that. You know why? Because I got a man card. I have a metal man card. Nobody's telling me nothing.
Yeah, and if people think, well, man, that was a bubble off level, man. They tried to do the same shit to Jesus. It's like, don't say that. Don't do that on the Sabbath.
And what they tell the disciples? You can teach, which was already against all their stuff. They're trying to compromise with them. You could teach, just not in that name. Just not that name. Yeah. I like how E.V. Hill says that. He goes, as long as you don't say it in that name, that wonderful name, the name that's above all
glory.
Names. They asked him when he prayed one time at a government event, they said, just don't use the name of Jesus.
Right.
And he said when he prayed, and he says, and Lord, they've asked me not to use your name. He said, but how could I ever keep the lips of this sinner from speaking the wonderful name, the name of Jesus? At the name that every knee shall bow, every tongue shall confess. At the name of Jesus, I could have healing in my body. Yeah. At the wonderful name, no other name under heaven must men be saved. And he went on and on and on and on. He said, I had never been invited to pray at their event ever again because I spoke that wonderful name. They're never going to get us to stop, Doug. They can't shut us up.
No, and that's a spirit decor, man, that's here in Warriors and Wild Men. And again, thanks for standing by websites like ours that just got shit hammered. The website didn't. Our little Facebook pages of 2 million people. And again, I think with the Click group, you throw mine in there and Colfage's and the 10 or 12 others, I think you're talking about 40, 50 million people that we paid to reach on Facebook that we just been slandered and libeled against. And
how much money have they made? Not just your ads. How much money have they made off you reaching those people?
Yeah, exactly. No, and so when it comes up, Warriors and Wild Men listener, and you see it in the news, send a note to your congressman. Send a note to, if Tucker brings it up, Hannity, Fox and Friends, whomever. Jump into their Twitter feed. If you're still on Facebook, jump on Facebook. Say, put Clash Daily back on. Put the good conservative sites back on. Put the liberal websites that are contrarian to conservative and libertarian worldviews that hadn't done anything bogus. Put them back on. And then that icon on Facebook that goes like that, we ought to create one that looks like Facebook's and go like that right back to Facebook. Unbelievable, man. That ain't America, folks. Rich, what does the Warriors and Wild Men listener need to do?
I don't know. They need to stand up for Jesus. Come on, somebody.
Here's what I'm going to tell them to do. Zeke, do we have a way they can subscribe on warriorsandwildmen.com? Because let's not drive them to Facebook anymore. Now, we're going to be there until we get everything set up, but we're getting out. We're bailing, man. We're just absolutely bailing.
Warriorsandwildmen.com. Warriorsandwildmen.com. There's a subscribe button in the top right, you said? It's right at the top. Right at the top. And it says subscribe. Get on there. And you'll be able to be in contact with us no matter what Facebook tries to do with us. Yep. And also go to our podcast. How do they find the podcast?
It says podcast right at the top.
At the top of the Warriors and Wild Men page, it also says podcast at the top of the menu. You'll see it there on the top bar. And you can click on that and you can find the platform that you use the different ways to listen to the podcast. You can go there. So, you know, you don't need Facebook. We don't need Facebook. You got to stay in contact. If you like what we're saying, and if it's helping you, you know, if it's speaking to you, challenging you, and go to warriorsandwildmen.com, man. Sign up with us. Hang out.